This is the Craftsbuilt 2000, also known as the Gash Master. Its 17-inch blade with 248 steel teeth can slice a telephone pole in half in 9.2 seconds. The way I see it, anything with 248 teeth should not be allowed in a school. If you screw up using the Craftsbuilt 2000, or the Nordtron F7 grinder, or the Impreg rotary lathe, best case, you'll go home minus a thorax. You see, my philosophy is simple. In a world where there are literally 10 million ways to mutilate yourself on a normal day, why go messing around with tools? It was a philosophy that I based my entire life and school schedule around. That is, until one fateful day last spring when the school schedule gods were in the mood to bust my clams. Because when my new schedule arrived, I saw the one word that I prayed I'd never see. Shop.
It's mighty strange. You looking happily range. I can't say the shit bed. Or have you picked your target yet? It's ended. Got your dog bite. It's ended. It's ended. Got your dog bite.
Tools. They're loud, they're sharp, and they can kill you. And what do you end up with after risking your limbs and life? A spice rack. Is there anything more pointless in life than a spice rack? And is making a spice rack worth the loss of a body part that I've come to know and love? Obviously, the schedule gods must think so. Either that, or they're into spicy food. And that's where my story begins, in the dungeon that is shop.
Real funny. Put my head into a vice. Can you take it out now? It's so funny. Why aren't you laughing, corn boy?
Mike, please don't put his head in the vice.
What are you, his dad?
As a matter of fact, I am his dad. Luckily, like a lot of socket heads, Endless Mike Hellstrom was very easy to confuse. He was one of those high school lifers who always seemed to be in shop. You know the type. Guys with names like Harley and Fleck. Well, here's something you might not have known. Socket heads rule their turf.
You need a tool. You come to me. You need a nut, nail, screw, bolt, nut. You come to me. You need safety goggles or a helmet. You come to me. And maybe, if you pay attention and you follow the rules of the class, Mr. Slurm, he might let you work on a special project. Questions?
What's a special project?
If you deserve to know, you'll know.
What's that supposed to mean?
Who cares? I don't want to have anything to do with Slurm's special project. I'm just going to sit in the back, get my C, and see you later, shop class.
Now, I heard all about Slurm's special project. It's a cryogenic freezer. He wants to freeze his own head when he dies.
Really? It's an anti-ballistic fragmentary explosive. What, you guys never heard of those?
Teddy, you can't make a bomb in shop class.
Want to bet? Besides, I heard that Slurm wants to get the guy back who...
Oh yeah, there was something I forgot to tell you about Mr. Slurm. Nobody knew how he lost it, but just like his special project, practically everyone had a theory.
I heard he cut it off himself so he could be part tool.
Landmine. Mekong Delta, 67.
Another theory was that Slurm made his claw and all its attachments himself. In shop class.
Wood. Theory and practice.
I couldn't believe that I actually had to sit there and listen to this ratchet brain babble on about wood. And what was the story with all those attachments? And I couldn't figure out whether everyone else had been lulled into a hypnotic trance by Slurm's sideshow, or if they were seriously into it.
Perhaps you could tell us the most sullen wood we've discussed so far, Mr. Wrigley.
Naugahyde? Mahogany?
Walnut? So much for vanishing. Right then I decided that I had too much at stake to cross this guy. It was only the first day, and already Slurm had me pegged. But while one Pete was busted, the other Pete was in business. When he heard I was taking shop, he took an after-school job as an insurance salesman.
Our motto is, when you least expect it, expect it.
But Pete wasn't selling car insurance or homeowner's insurance. Pete was in the dismemberment business. He had a chart that showed every body part and their value in cash and merchandise. Bill was the only one who bit Pete's bait. I sure didn't, because there was no way that I was even going near the power tools.
The Craftsbuilt is not a toy, and it is not just a tool. It is the Cadillac of saws. Use it carefully. 12 years ago, a Mr. Nabby didn't. One hair of his got caught around the Craftsbuilt patented Accuchrome spinning drive shaft. The rest of his scalp quickly followed. Who'd like to cut something with the TS4? Or, as you'll soon be calling it, Slasher. Ah, yes. How about...
I will, Mr. Slurm.
Thankfully, Ellen saved my thorax for the moment. But what I didn't know was that Ellen wasn't really saving me. She was leaving me, because within a week, Ellen had turned into a slurmoid.
Did you know that a blowtorch burns with the same intensity as the Earth's core? If you stare into the flame long enough, you can see its soul. Wanna look, Pete?
I knew that Ellen had a history of going a little, overboard at times, but this was ridiculous.
I don't think of it as melting the metal. I think of it as setting it free.
It didn't take long for me to realize that I was the only kid in that class who just wanted to get a C and get out of shop forever.
It's Danish modern.
That is, until our midterm projects were due.
You were one sick kid, D.
You see, Slurm had his own way of grading.
Airless, C minus. The Caligari technique. Very good, young lady. B plus.
He liked it, Pete. Maybe I'll get to work on a special project.
I can't believe you want to work on that thing.
Why not? It would be an honor.
An honor? Are you kidding? Slurm is a...
Mr. Wrigley. Well. I want everyone to look at what Mr. Wrigley has done. What are you laughing at, Mike?
Well,
There's real poetry here. Yes. Real feeling, Mr. Wrigley. Come with me, young man. You'll sit here till the end of the term.
But...
You're going to be part of my special project team. Right alongside Mike.
him?
For the rest of the semester, Mr. Wrigley, you and I are going to be one.
It took me exactly 3 seconds to learn one thing about Slurm's special project. There was nothing special about it.
Use the chop saw and make me a circular form. And this time, Mr. Wrigley, don't hew the edges.
I had become Slurm's personal power tool. I sawed, sanded, drilled, hammered. Every day my limbs were in danger. And if that weren't bad enough, Slurm never told me what I was working on. Never. All I knew was that he kept it hidden from the world in a cabinet that was never opened. No one else seemed too concerned about it, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't stop wondering what was in there. It was like some black hole that kept trying to suck me into its whirling vortex. What was Slurm hiding?
What difference does it make? It's a special project.
But don't you think it's a little weird that Slurm won't tell me what it is?
It wouldn't matter to me. How do they expect me to work with metal this soft? It's like cheese.
Maybe it is an anti-ballistic fragmentary explosive.
I think you're going a little overboard, Pete.
I don't trust Noah. If the special project wasn't something bad or dangerous, why wouldn't he tell me what it is? I'm working on it.
If you're really that worried about it, why don't you just ask Mike what it is?
Mike who?
Mike Hellstrom.
Since when did you start calling Endless Mike, Mike?
Whenever I call him Mike, he helps me out.
Mike! Oh boy, that craft belt sure does ride like a Cadillac, huh? So, can you believe what Slurm has us making, huh, Mike?
Nice try, Carrot Head. About cut me a 2x-a-ply. Thanks, Sawboy.
So much for the my friend Mike approach.
I thought about going to the police, or even Vice Principal Lergner, but I had no evidence. They would have just laughed in my face.
Somehow, I had to sneak a look at the plans to the special project. I knew I couldn't do it alone, so I decided to get by with a little help from my friends.
Mr. Slurm, there's somebody outside who needs to see you.
To make sure my scheme went smoothly, I took out a little insurance.
Sir, may I have a moment of your time?
No, you may not.
You'll be sorry.
It was a policy I knew would deliver. Getting Slurm out of my way was the easy part. It was diverting Endless Mike that made me a little squirmy.
Corn.
Our research shows that 47% of all people who experience one misfortune will experience another.
Ah, jeez. I'm sorry. I guess I should have used the chop saw, huh, Mike? Didn't I tell you never to cut against the grain of the wood? Didn't I?
Mr. Wrigley, I forgot to tell you. Project's over.
What?
Yes, it's finished. You've completed the requirements for this course.
But
I said it's finished, Mr. Wrigley. Now, return to your regular table.
So I was free. Free from being Slurm's slave. I should have been the happiest I've ever been, but for some strange reason, I wasn't. Could Slurm have known that I was onto him? And now, was he trying to keep me from getting too close to his secret? I just couldn't shake the sinking feeling that I had helped Slurm build something evil. Who knows what that twisted psychoid had me working on? If only I had proof of what he was up to, I'd nail that freak show for sure. So on the night before our final class, I decided to find out for myself. Once and for all.
Who's there? Who's there? I know somebody's out there. Mr. Wrigley, I've been waiting for you.
Good. Because there's something I want to talk to you about. I demand to know what I've been working on.
You demand? Come into my office, Mr. Wrigley. Sit down, Mr. Wrigley. Are you comfortable? Now, what is it exactly that you're looking for?
You know, the anti-ballistic fragmentary explosive. Or that cryogenic chamber.
Cryogenic chamber? Wow, that's a new one. Cryogenic.
Tell me what it is.
Relax, Mr. Wrigley. Calm down. Are you comfortable?
Stop asking me that.
Well, I want to know because I am very comfortable. I have been ever since you finished building this air conditioner for my office.
That's it? An air conditioner? That's the special project?
Oh, Mr. Wrigley, give yourself a little more credit. This isn't just an air conditioner. Look, it has 3 settings. Low, medium, and over here we have high. I prefer medium. You feel that? Medium.
But That's not fair.
Fair. You have no idea what fair is, Mr. Wrigley. What's fair is when someone thinks it's worthless to take shop, and so he makes worthless things because he has no respect for the wood or what he can do with it. What's fair is for that worthless student to get an F. Now, what's not fair is when something's taken away from you at a very young age before you have the chance to discover its power. Every year there's one just like you. And every year we make a little deal, and in the end everyone's happy. I get what I want, and you get your C.
Now there's one more favor we can do for each other. Don't bother coming to class tomorrow. You don't want to be here, I don't want you here. Besides, you couldn't make a chopping block if you tried. So take your C and see you later. Wrigley, what are you doing?
Making something.
Well, make sure you turn off the light after you make it. And, Mr. Wrigley, don't forget to turn off my air conditioner when you leave. Don't worry, it won't hurt you.
I worked like mad all through the night. And as I worked, I couldn't help but think about, well, everything. Mr. Slurm, his hand, the special project, and the feeling of being worthless in someone's eyes. But I knew the truth. Pete Wrigley was better than that, and it was time for Slurm to learn it too. The next morning, I was ready to get the grade I deserved.
Metal never looks as lovely as when it's been set free. Excellent job, Miss Hickle. A. Well, Mr. Wrigley. It looks like you've used the 5/8 bit here.
7/8, sir.
Oh, yes, I can see that. And this was cut with the Craftsbuilt 2000?
Just the base.
Really? On a piece that narrow? I could never get it to do that. Nice touch, Mr. Wrigley. B+.
Okay, so maybe I didn't exactly slay him, but at least I proved that I could do it. And I guess that's what Mr. Slurm wanted me to learn all along. He just had his own way of teaching me. And even though I still think that tools are loud, sharp, and can kill you, when you make something you're proud of, sometimes it's worth the risk.